Hey gang, Will here from the Ashland Fly Shop. Fishing report for you, late Feb, early March. I think today is the last day of March, the 28th. Southern Oregon Roundup, here we go. Rogue River in this region, what a crazy, wild week and a half it's been, 2 weeks with weather. It's just been nuts. I'm sure you've seen in the news, the national news, local news, the amount of snow, wind, rain, snow, and repeat that we've had. It's just been nuts. And actually here in Ashland, the Rogue Valley, we've kind of missed a lot of it. Like to the north, Eugene has just been inundated. To the south, Mount Shasta, I think had record snowfall. So we're actually super stoked about it. Lots of snow. It's going to be great for the rivers for this year. So we're pumped, but it has made trying to get around it challenging. Although, you know, mid-Feb is still a little early by some respects for some of the upper rivers like the Rogue, Umpqua and stuff. But so yeah, we did see the Rogue spike, 20 grand I think at Dodge Bridge, the Dodge Bridge gauge, so really high. It is coming back down pretty quickly. I think it's at like maybe 4,000 or 5,000 today, which is just barely getting there. Clarity is probably just creeping back into, so we really don't know what to expect right now. I would assume that we would have some fish in now. We'd have some fresh fish that have kind of rode this wave and have come on in. So, but we're looking forward to the flows kind of settling out, and then we'll have a better idea of what's going on. We have been able to fish the very extreme upper end below the dam. So if you're sort of stuck here and fishing right below the dam, you can fish. But like I said, I think the whole system will be back in shape in the next couple days. And I think some of our guides are actually out fishing today because it's not a bad idea to fish that high water in some of the softer spots. So I think we're going to be looking at some good fishing at the very beginning of our kind of peak of winter steelhead here in the upper river, and we'll just kind of keep you in the loop on that. The Applegate River, we don't get too specific about it. It's a challenging place to fish, and public access is tough, but we have heard of some pretty decent fishing happening over there. So, you know, if that's on your list, and a lot of people enjoy fishing over there, or just kind of want to know what's happening, it's a good barometer for what's happening in the whole Rogue. So we are seeing fish in the Applegate at this point. It bumped up pretty good, and it's back down to, I think, 700, 800 at Wilderville, I think. So that's come down pretty quickly, if I'm reading that right, which I think I was. So that's what's going on with the Rogue. The upper section, the Holy Water, haven't heard much as far as trout fishing up there. You know, last we checked in, it was pretty slow. Again, I think we're still in that same place. You got really cold water. You've got the potential for blueing olives midday, maybe more potential now with this warmer weather that we are having now. So just looking for some feedback on the Holy Water, but it'd be a good place to go. It's, you know, not a lot of choice as far as trout fishing. So, you know, swinging streamers, trout spay rods, you know, looking for hatches midday. It's a good bet if you're in the area to head up to the Holy Water. The Klamath River, if you look at the gauge, it's all over the map. You know, it's jumped way up to over 2,000 and back down to 1,200 and up to 17. And I don't know what they're doing with that thing, but it's kind of stayed in that 22 to 1,500, 1,200 area, which is pretty fishable. The question is just, is it really off color? And I feel like I've seen some pictures and reports from there in the last few days. So I think there are fish to be had there. I know there are fish to be had. I think the conditions are okay for it, and I would expect it now to be creeping down a little bit too. So I think the Upper Klamath is still a good bet. We've just seen some very consistent fishing happening there, which we typically do this time of year, but even more so this year with the good numbers of fish that we've seen in the Upper Klamath. So I do think the Upper Klamath is still a good bet, and that will taper off here pretty quickly. So I think as we get to mid-March, later in March, we should see that kind of taper off and transition into you know, early summer stuff. So we'll be watching that, and that's what we're seeing on the Upper K. The North Umpqua, you know, this is a great time to be fishing up there. Right around the 1st of March, you can be real confident that there are fish pushed up in there, whether it's the fly water or just below or right in there. I think it's a good bet. You know, looking at the gauges, we looked at all the gauges this morning. Steamboat's got about 900 or I think 700 or 900 CFS coming in. That's right at the fly water, top of the fly water. Above there, it's reading like 12 or 1300. So, you know, I'm sure it's decent. I'm sure that basically almost everything they got was snow probably. And then what did we see at the Winchester? I think it was like 7,000 or 6,000. So it's all sort of equaling out and coming into shape. And I think it might be slightly on the high side and a little off color, but it's probably pushing pretty good shape. And I think that would be a good bet. You know, the Umpqua system had the catch and release regulations go into effect about 4 or 5 years ago. Thank you so much for everyone who was involved in that. And we've just seen such great results from that. The Umpqua really seems to, especially the winter run, just be a real bright light there as far as fish numbers. So we're really happy to see that. And a lot of those fish are heading up into the north. So the north is a good, I think a pretty good bet right now. So that's what we're looking at right now as far as fish. A little bit of an abbreviated report. Still a lot of water in a lot of places, a lot of high water. But what we're seeing now is we're going to start seeing fish in real numbers in the upper stretches of these longer systems like the Rogue, the Umpqua. So we'll be talking about that a little bit more as we go on and keeping you in the loop on that stuff. So as usual, please feel free to give us a call. We can try to be as up to date as possible with weather and flows and all that stuff. And that's, you know, that's the game, is chasing that stuff. So really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you very much. And look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks.